Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to, really get a grasp on complex stuff quickly, have those aha moments without getting bogged down.
Exactly. No overwhelm, just insight.
So today we're diving into Aikido sword techniques, Aiki Ken. We're using Bukiwaza Basic and Advanced Aiki Ken as our map, really. It lays things out pretty clearly.
Yeah, it's a solid guide. Think of this as the express lane. We'll hit the key stuff starting with solo practice, the suburi.
And moving to partner work, a ways.
Right, and then touching on some of the more advanced paired forms, the kumitachi.
The mission, basically to pull out the core ideas of Aikiken, give you a shortcut to understanding what it's all about.
Sounds good. So let's kick off with those fundamentals.
Okay, Ken Suburi. These are the solo sword-swinging exercises. Sounds straightforward, maybe.
Yeah.
But the book stresses they're, absolutely foundational.
Oh, completely. They're the bedrock. You're embedding the mechanics, the posture, the focus, even things that seem small or critical.
Like,
Well, the book points out how Saito Sensei, back in the 70s, really emphasized Tai Sabaki in the Aiki Ken Suburi.
Tai Sabaki, that's the body movement, right? Evasion.
Yeah.
Moving off the line of attack while you're striking.
Precisely. And that's interesting because the book notes some earlier Io Akama stuff, especially with the Jo, the staff, was maybe more focused on just moving straight forward in paired work.
Huh. So why that shift or that emphasis on Tai Sabaki with the sword? What's the thinking there?
Well, it really speaks to the inherent danger of a live blade, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even practicing solo, you're drilling the principle of not being where the attack is landing.
Right. Don't just stand there.
Exactly. It's not only about delivering your cut, but doing it from a position of, well, relative safety. Moving offline achieves both. Avoids the attack, sets up your own.
That makes total sense with the sword involved. You're always thinking about positioning relative to a threat, even an imagined one. Okay, let's talk stance. Ken Okame, sword-ready stance. The book describes the standard right hand me, right foot forward. Sword in the right hand, left hand supporting. What about the grip specifics?
Okay, the grip, it's quite deliberate. Your right hand's on the pommel, the very end. Firm grip there.
Right at the bottom?
Yep. And the left hand comes up higher on the handle. No, the key thing the book mentions is the finger pressure. Pinky and ring finger on that left hand grip pretty firmly.
Okay.
But the middle and index fingers, a bit looser, more relaxed.
Interesting. Why that difference?
It gives you both power and flexibility. The lower fingers provide the solid base, the connection for power generation from the body. The upper fingers allow for, subtle adjustments, steering the blade. And overall balance in the stance is, well, paramount. It's an athletic readiness.
Got it. Firm base, but with control. Okay, next term. Shime. The book says it's a squeeze. What's that about? Squeezing the handle?
Yeah, but it's about when you squeeze. Shime is that tightening of the grip right at the very, very end of the cut. The moment of impact or potential impact. Think of like cracking a whip. That final snap, similar idea. That last second tightening accelerates the sword tip, focuses the energy right where you want it. It makes the cut much more effective.
Like a final pulse of energy. Makes sense. Okay, then Zanshin. Continuing mind or spirit. This sounds a bit more abstract. How does that play out when you're just swinging a sword?
It's huge in Aikido,
Right.
tension. It means you don't just drop your awareness once the technique is done. In Suburi, after the cut, you maintain your posture, your balance, your focus. You're still ready.
So no relaxing immediately.
No, definitely not.
Ah.
It's like staying switched on. Mentally and physically alert, aware of your surroundings, even after the main action, prevents complacency. Like a coiled spring, still holding potential.
Right, that lingering presence. Okay. And kai. Energy harmonized. Usually the shout, right? Is it just yelling?
Well, it can sound like that sometimes, but no, it's meant to be much more. A proper kai is a focused vocalization. It coordinates your breath, your internal energy, with the peak of the physical movement, like the strike.
So it focuses power.
Yeah, it's a way to concentrate everything, your intention, your energy, right at that critical moment, like a focused release.
Gotcha. The book also pushes visualizing actual applications during Suburi. So even alone, you're picturing an opponent.
Absolutely essential. Suburi isn't just physical conditioning, it's mental training too. If you vividly imagine a target, an attack coming in, how you're responding, it makes the movements meaningful.
Instead of just empty repetition.
Exactly. You're rehearsing the engagement mentally, prepares the mind.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, stances again. Hanmi and Hidoemi. Hanmi, half-bodied, the basic triangular stance. The book notes Saito Sensei later really emphasized the rear foot being 90 degrees to the front one. Is that angle a big deal?
It actually is, yeah. That 90-degree angle gives you a much more solid base. And crucially, it allows for better hip rotation.
Ah, for power generation.
Precisely. It's about efficient biomechanics,
Yeah.
a refinement in how to generate power effectively from the ground up.
Interesting how that small detail changes things. And hitoimi, one body, facing more sideways. Used in older forms, the book says. How is that different functionally from hanmi?
With hito-imi, you're presenting a much narrower target to the front.
Yeah.
Think like standing almost sideways on.
More edge on.
Yeah. It can be good for minimizing your profile for certain evasive moves or techniques where you want a more linear body alignment. Its presence in older forms might suggest a focus on those kinds of strategies.
So hanmi is more rooted, maybe, and hitoimi is more streamlined, perhaps evasive.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Different tools for different situations.
Yeah, okay. The book then covers alignment, foot, knee, hip, stressing natural posture, using hip rotation for power, keeping weight slightly forward in kame. This sounds like core athletic principles, really.
It absolutely is. Good alignment means efficiency, no wasted energy, less strain. The hips are the engine, right?
Yeah.
And that slight forward weight in kame means you can react and initiate movement faster.
Makes sense. And it links body alignment to tsuki, thrusting, saying that hito-imi stance naturally leads to a forward lean of the hips for a thrust. Why that lean?
For a thrust, that forward hip position helps extend your reach. It also aligns your body's mass more directly behind the sword point.
Ah, so more power and reach for penetration.
Exactly. It focuses the energy along the line of the thrust.
Okay. Then there's talk about sequential movement, moving both feet when striking or thrusting. A slide stepping motion, weight transfer, adjusting the rear leg. Sounds like coordination is key.
Oh, massively. That coordinated footwork keeps you balanced while moving and generating power. The slide step lets you cover ground smoothly without losing your center. Adjusting the rear leg keeps you in a strong position throughout.
And timing the strike with the step-a-waist timing. Can't be too slow, can't be too fast.
Nope. Get the timing wrong, and you're off balance, maybe even running onto their counter. Striking as you land the step puts your whole body into it. Maximizes impact, minimizes openings.
It all feels very connected. Then weight transference, shifting rear to front during the strike, but staying stable.
It's a kinetic chain, really. Power comes from the ground up through the legs. Hips rotate, core engages, energy goes out through the sword. Proper weight shift connects all that smoothly.
Right. And the footwork itself, I like to meet a sensei's analogy. Move like a piece of paper. Avoid stomping.
It's a great image, isn't it?
Yeah.
Light, fluid, gliding. Maintaining that connection with the ground for stability and quick reaction.
And using zori, the sandals, to refine it.
Yeah, training in zori really makes you aware of your feet. You can't rely on cushioned soles. You have to be sensitive, balanced, develops feeling in the feet.
Like truly feeling the floor. Okay, hands and arms. The grip again. Firm pinkering. Looser middle index. That slight squeeze, shine at the end. Flexibility is key. Tilting the sword for cuts involves adjusting the top hand. So definitely not just brute arm strength.
Not at all. It's a sophisticated way to hold it. You get power from the body via the lower fingers, but fine control and steering from the upper fingers and wrists. Tilting the blade for different angles is all about that nuanced control.
And the book apparently has diagrams for hanmi and hito-imi.
Yeah, visual aids are super helpful for nailing those stances.
Okay, so that's a deep dive into just the fundamentals of the solo swings, the suburi.
It is. And you really need to grasp these basics before moving on. They're the foundation.
Right. So building on that, the book gets into specific suburi. The first 3 ichi, ni, san no suburi are done on the spot. Foundational cuts, breathing, body-sword connection.
Establishing the core lines of movement.
Then go no suburi connects to the paired stuff, kumitachi, and brings in that upward rotational move we mentioned.
Yeah, go acts like a bridge, introducing elements you'll see in partner work.
And roku and shichi no suburi 6th and 7th, they start with a step back. That's different.
It is. Those first 3 are static, establishing the cut. Starting with a step back, immediately brings in dynamic footwork, distance control, weight shift right from the start. Adds complexity.
Makes the solo form feel more like an engagement. Okay, after those, we get Zengo Giri, forward-backward cut, basic striking front and rear.
Yeah, pretty fundamental.
But the interesting part is how it connects to other things, Shihogiri, Happogiri, even empty hand stuff like Morote Dori Kokyuho, that 2-on-1 breathing throw. This link between weapons and empty hand keeps coming up.
It's central. That's Riai, the harmony of principles. The idea is that the underlying body mechanics, the strategy, it should work whether you have a sword, a staff, or nothing in your hands. Zengo Giri, simple as it looks, embodies those universal Aikido movements.
Like the ABCs of Aikido movement.
Right.
Then, Shihogiri, four-direction cut, builds on Zengogiri but adds turns. Clockwise movement, linking to Shiho Nage, the empty hand four-direction throw. The book lists the 8 cuts involved, so expanding that forward-backward to all around you.
Exactly. Shiogiri takes that linear base and adds rotation, developing awareness of multiple directions, multiple potential attackers. The link to Shionage is another strong example of Riai.
Adapting the core idea. And last, in Suburi, Hapogiri, 8-direction cut. There's an old version and a new version. Old one sounds like a continuation of Shiogiri's strike front, turn, strike elsewhere. New one has slightly different footwork. Why 2 versions?
Well, it shows the art isn't static, right? It evolves. The newer version might reflect, I don't know, a refinement in understanding biomechanics, or maybe a slightly different tactical emphasis discovered through years of practice.
So not necessarily better, just different stages of development.
Could be. Both teach the core concept of addressing 8 directions.
Interesting. Okay, that wraps up the solo stuff, Suburi. Now we shift gears to Kenaways blending with the sword. Partner practice. This must change everything.
Oh, it's a huge shift. A ways is where you start applying those solo principles in real time with someone else, Uchitachi, the attacker. The whole focus is on a ways itself fitting, blending, harmonizing with their attack.
And the book lists key points here. First, a ways itself timing your move with the partners. Blending, not just blocking forcefully. Very Aikido.
Totally. It's the essence, non-resistance. You're not meeting force with force. You yield, blend, redirect their energy to gain control.
Then maai, combative distance. AI meaning harmony again. Initial practice uses a longer distance.
Yeah, usually. Gives both people room to see the attack, react, learn the timing without crashing into each other immediately.
Makes sense. Learn the pattern first.
Right. Then as you get better, the distance closes.
Yeah.
And that demands much more sensitivity, faster reactions, finer control.
Okay. Next, Meitsuke.
Gaze.
So sensei's teaching. Focus on the eyes, not the sword. Perceive their whole being. That sounds deep.
It is.
Yeah.
The idea is, by looking at the eyes, you're trying to read more than just the weapon's movement. You're sensing their intention, their balance, their energy, a holistic awareness of the whole person, the whole situation.
Reading intent, not just reacting to steel? Wow. Okay, mochikata grip. Again, keep the sword on the center line. Flexible but connected grip. That center line thing seems important.
Fundamental. Keeps your vitals protected defensively, and it's the most direct line for your own attack. The right grip lets you control the sword effectively from that central line.
And kame, stance. Mutual stance and paired practice, swords pointing at throat or face height. Setting the stage.
Exactly. It establishes that initial engagement, that moment of potential, creates a dynamic tension right from the start.
And the practice routine. Senior person starts as Yukitachi, receiver, then switch roles. You do both sides.
Absolutely essential. You need to feel what it's like to attack and defend within the form. Gives you a much deeper understanding of the timing, the distance, the openings, the vulnerabilities for both roles. Builds empathy, you know?
For sure. Okay, specific oways examples. Migi oways
Right.
and Hidari oways, left. Mirror images done in right and left hanmi, just for balance.
Pretty much. Got to train both sides equally. Avoid becoming one-sided. Develops overall coordination and adaptability.
Makes sense. Then go no oways and shichi no oways. Here, ukitachi attacks, uchitachi parries, using terms like ukiru, receive, and haro, sweep away. So these are more structured drills.
Yeah, they're fundamental paired exercises. Attacker does a specific thing. Defender practices the specific blend and parry response. Teaches how to receive force without clashing, how to clear the line.
And timing. Dankai teki oways, step by step. Saito sensei taught it in stages early on, like learning a dance step by step.
Exactly like that. Breaking it down makes it manageable. You focus on one piece of the timing, one part of the interaction, before putting it all together. Build sensitivity to the rhythm.
Then ukiru-ken, parrying sword, and kimaru-ken, deciding finishing sword. Clear roles for the blades in these drills. Deflecting the attacker's center is key.
Right. One sword primarily receives deflects, ukiru. The other establishes control and finishes kimeru. Disrupting their center throws off their balance, creates your opening.
Okay, specifics. Go no oways, 5th blending. 2 attacks. Uchitachi attacks with left hanmi yokomen uchi, side head strike. Uketachi blends, parries. Footwork, raise sword, step back parry, slide foot back. Getting more intricate now.
It is. Go no ways introduces a specific sequence of coordinated body sword moves against a defined attack. The footwork is key, creating space, angling, maintaining balance for the parry, and potential follow-up.
And Shichi no Aways, 7th blending. 3 attacks, mirrors Shichi no Suburi but roles reversed. So taking a solo form and doing it with a partner attacking you.
Precisely. That really hammers home the connection between solo and partner practice. You take a known sequence, but now you have to adapt it in real time to someone else's energy and attack. Deepens understanding of both the form and the application.
Okay, solo work done, basic paired blending done. Now, the advanced stuff. Kumitachi, paired sword forms. This is where it all comes together, yeah.
Pretty much. These are the advanced paired forms. The book mentions they have roots in the Kashima sword school. And interestingly, Saito Sensei introduced Henka variations within these forms in the 80s.
Variations, so they're not totally fixed.
Right, they're frameworks. The Henka concept means you explore within the form, not just memorize a rigid sequence, adapting based on the principles.
And Riai comes up again, harmonizing weapon and empty hand principles. Plus, terms like Ichigeki no Henka, first attack variation, Nigeki no Henka, second attack variation, so built-in adaptability.
Exactly. Kumitachi are designed to embody Aikido principles in more complex, dynamic ways. Henka encourages you to think, how do these principles apply if the attack changes slightly? How do I respond?
And they use more advanced moves, right? Strikes, parries, positions you don't see in the basics.
Yeah, you start seeing a broader range of techniques. The suburi in a ways gave you the alphabet and basic grammar. Kumitachi is like learning to write more complex sentences, use more nuanced vocabulary, demands deeper understanding.
Okay, let's look at some. Ichi no Tachi, first Kumitachi. 3 sequences. Ukitachi starts with Shomanuchi, vertical head strike. Uchitachi blends, thrusts, Suki. Uketachi steps back, parries. Uchitachi finishes with Yokomenuchi, side head strike, and Kimaru Ken finish. Sounds like a core exchange.
It is. Very fundamental. Blend with the attack, counterattack directly, handle the defense, finish decisively. Shows that flow from defense to offense while controlling the center.
Then Nino Tachi, second. Much longer, 8 sequences. Starts with Ukitachi and Jodan, high stance. Lots of downward strikes, parries, thrusts, Suki. Ends with Yukomenuchi and Kimaru Ken. Requires more stamina and focus.
Definitely. It's more involved, wider range of techniques, including attacking from high guard, integrating thrusts, needs sustained coordination and understanding of the flow over multiple exchanges.
Senotachi, third. Shorter, 3 sequences. Ukitachi initiates with Makiotoshi, sweeping downward parry. Uchitachi counters with Yupomen Uchi, then Kimaru Gen. This one seems focused on countering a specific defense.
That's right. It highlights how to respond when your opponent uses Makiotoshi. It creates an opening. The Yukomen exploits it, recognizing and seizing opportunities.
Yan no Tachi, fourth. 5 sequences. Starts from Ken no Kamae, includes slide steps, Judansuki mid-level thrust, Makiotoshi, Yokomen Uchi, Kimaru Ken, and there's that note about an older, closer starting distance changed later for safety.
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of history. Shows how practice adapts. The closer start might reflect older battlefield realities. Maybe the later version prioritizes safer training while still teaching the core principles.
Practicality matters. Go no Tachi, 5th. 5 sequences again. Unique combinations of attacks berries, Shomen, Yokomen, Kimaru Ken. Sounds like it mixes things up more.
It does. Go no Tachi introduces less predictable sequences, more complex interplay, requires more adaptability, a deeper grasp of how techniques flow together.
And finally, Kimusubi no Tashi Otonashi no Ken. Joining of Spirit Sword, Silent Sword, 7 sequences, focuses on initiative, blending, and Hayagashi footwork, that quick change step. Silent Sword, evocative.
It really is. This form delves into the subtler, energetic side. Initiative, seamless blending, agile footwork. It suggests a level of connection that goes beyond just the physical clash of swords. More about flow and joining.
Wow, okay, that's been a really thorough walkthrough from solo basics to these advanced paired forms, all guided by the book.
Yeah, quite a journey. And the main thing, I think, is seeing how it all connects.
Definitely. You can't really do the advanced stuff without nailing the basics first.
Not effectively, no. The Saripa principles movement, stance, intent, they feed directly into the blending and timing of a ways.
Which then sets you up for the complexity of Kumitachi.
Exactly. It's a progressive, holistic system. Body, mind, energy, partner connection. It's all in there.
It really is an interconnected system. Mastering the basics allows the advanced techniques to actually work. No shortcuts.
Precisely. The whole approach, integrating the physical, the mental, and that energetic link with your partner.
Well, this deep dive has definitely shed a lot of light on Aiki Ken for me. I hope it has for you listening, too. I've got a much clearer picture of the depth and the progression.
Good. It's a fascinating art.
So a final thought to chew on. Think about those core Aiki Ken principles, blending with energy coming at you, timing your actions precisely, maintaining focused intention. How might those ideas apply outside the dojo in your own life?
Good question.
Where are you, parrying challenges or striking towards goals? Could thinking about blending timing and intention change how you approach things? Something to mull over.
Definite. Those principles, blending with challenges, timing your efforts, the power of focus, they really do have relevance everywhere, don't they? Worth reflecting on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep thinking deeply.